for having me. Can everyone hear me okay? Just a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Okay, awesome, great. So hi everyone, I'm Dr. Tobi, but you can call me Tobi, and I am a clinical psychologist. And so what that means is that I see people when they're feeling low or they're feeling worried or anxious about things. And today I'm here to talk to you all about mental health, paying attention to your mental health and why that's important. So before I share some points, I thought it would be really helpful for me to play a video of two people, Sasha and Andre. I'm really curious to hear what you think about the video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it and how that relates to us and our mental health. Okay, great.
You can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that, just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life, just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. Mum should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too, but it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to. So I asked our head of year for some advice. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when you're feeling low, so our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there, but now I'm beginning to understand my mental health. I'm learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea the people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Okay, so thanks everyone for watching that video with me. So now I just want us to talk about the key messages from that video, yeah? And I want this to be interactive. So I'm gonna ask you guys some questions and you can just share what you think in the chat section. So the first thing that we learned is that mental health is how we think and how we feel, yeah, inside of us. And so not everyone will always know how we feel if we don't tell them. And also we can't always know how other people feel if they don't tell us. And another thing that we learned from the video is that mental health is not about always being happy. So there are going to be some times when you feel sad and upset, and that's okay. Something else that we notice is that when we're feeling low or down or we're not feeling ourselves, it can also affect how we behave. And just out of curiosity, when Sasha wasn't feeling herself, what did we notice about her? You could just put it in the chat section. What did we notice about Sasha when she wasn't feeling herself? Yes, thanks, Covenant. She looked stressed, yes. And we saw her crying, didn't we? So she was crying, she looked stressed, and she was worried about her test results because she didn't do so well in her test. Yes, crying, worried, she kept herself, she wasn't doing well in school. Yes, really great. You guys are really good at observing these things. Yes. How about Andre? What did we notice about Andre when he wasn't feeling so well in himself? He couldn't concentrate. Yes. Yes, he was depressed. Well, okay, wow. He didn't do what he usually did. He had negative emotions. He had clouded thoughts. That's really good that somebody spotted that because he talked about his thoughts and they were all over the place and it made him feel quite overwhelmed. He wasn't enjoying all things. Yes, that's a really good one, Benjamin. He wasn't doing the things that he used to do that were fun. He wasn't hanging around with his friends anymore. He was quiet. Yes. He was inundated. Yes, yes. So actually, we know that sometimes our thinking and our feelings can impact our behavior. So the things that we do, and you guys have all nicely spotted the things that we saw from Sasha and Andre when they weren't feeling themselves, when they were feeling low and down. But we also saw that there are things that you can do when you're feeling low, when you're feeling anxious, that can help. What did Sasha do that helped? She spoke to her mom. Yes. She watched Meshflix. I'm glad you spotted that. Because I was like, is that Netflix? But yeah, she watched Netflix. So she watched her favorite show. She sought advice from her mom. She did what she liked. Yes, those are really key things. So she talked to her mom, who was someone that she trusted. And she did the things that she enjoyed. So she watched a movie on Meshflix and she made herself a hot chocolate. Yes, and Yola made a really good point. She confided in someone that she trusted, and that's so important that when we're not feeling ourselves and we're feeling worried, that we're confiding in somebody that we trust. How about Andre? What did Sasha do that helped Andre open up to her? Yes, Benjamin, you're so spot on. She listened without judgment. So Sasha, first of all, opened up about how she was feeling and she told Andre that she was feeling stressed. And that helped Andre to open up to her. And she listened without judgment and she listened with empathy. Oh, you guys are great. Yes. And she tried telling him her story so as to open up to her. Yes, she did. And what else did Sasha do? Because even after they had that conversation, Sasha noticed that Andre still wasn't himself. So what did she do? She talked to the head of the Yep. She advised him to take part in things that that she found interesting. She spoke to someone that could help, really good and spot on. So at first, she tried to advise him on things that she had tried that had worked for her. But those things didn't really work for Andre. And that's also quite important to say, that sometimes the things that work for me don't necessarily work for others. And it's about finding what works for us when we're feeling down. And so she spoke to the head of year. What did the head of year recommend to Andre that helped to start improve his mood? Join sports, yeah. So play football, yeah, exactly. And like we saw in the video, we know from a lot of research that exercise can always help with our mood because it releases what we call happy hormones. And so exercise can be great. And so he encouraged him to play football. And Andre said he felt a lot better after he did that. But Andre also mentioned that sometimes we're feeling so low that we don't always want to talk about what we're feeling. So what were some of the other things that he suggested that if you're feeling low, you can try out if you're not in the mood to talk? Try arts, yes. Yeah. Sports, writing, listening to music, do what you love. Yes, spot on. So writing, playing sports, listen to music, doing some artworks, playing with your pet. And just out of curiosity, I'm just curious, what are some things that you all do when you're feeling low that you know makes you feel better? Someone said they play sports, they listen to Noah, they listen to music. Ooh, sing. That's one that didn't come up in the video. They draw. Yeah. So quite a number of you listen to music and read, play piano. They self-reflect. Yes. Play games. Ayodele said that I think, and sometimes how thinking can be helpful is that thinking can help us begin to problem solve. So that's gaming. That's another really nice one, and watching movies. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that you all have skills that you use already that help you when you're feeling low or you're feeling worried. And Sasha said something as well, which is sometimes our friends will confide in us. Yeah. So sometimes our friends will confide in us. And when our friends confide in us and tell us, oh, I'm feeling really stressed, I'm feeling worried, I don't really know what to do. What can we do if our friends come to us and they tell us how they're feeling? Listen without judgment and bias. Spot on, Benjamin. Listen without judgment and bias. Yeah, what else can we do when our friends come to us and tell us how they're feeling? We can share our thoughts with them. Yes, we can try to cheer them up. Yes, try to understand the situation. You guys are so great. Yeah. And all these things are really helpful because they can help our friends open up, give them a word of encouragement. And something else that Sasha said, which is so important, is that we're not expected to have all the answers, and that's okay. So sometimes our friends will come to us and they'll say to us, I feel this way, and we don't have the answer, but we can still listen with encouragement. We can try to understand what they're going through. And also, as Sasha said, we can also include other trusted adults that we know can help in the situation. And so much more still coming up here. We can sympathize with them, we can help them, we can advise them. Yeah, I'll speak to my ability on it, but if it's more than my strength, refer them to a pro. Yeah, and I'm really glad that a lot of you here are saying speak to a therapist, because that can always be helpful. But especially when you're in school or if you're like in your neighborhood, it's probably first a good idea to speak to a trusted adult. So whether that's your teacher or your mom or your dad, or a mentor that you have, and then let them assist you in helping your friend out and what would be best for them. So yeah, you guys have mentioned a lot of different things. And so to bring it all up together, we all have mental health. Mental health is not just about always feeling great and happy all the time. Sometimes we're going to be angry, we're going to be upset, we're going to be anxious. That's okay. The most important thing is to recognize when we feel that way and take action. And I've read today a lot of amazing things that you all do already when you're not feeling yourself and you're feeling down. And the key thing I read here, which is important, is doing things that you enjoy, whether it's gaming, playing football, art, singing, music. These things are great. And even when sometimes the things that we usually do don't work, don't give up, because that can happen sometimes, because that's what happened to Andre. And that might be a cue that we probably have to get other people involved, like a mentor or an adult that we trust. So yeah, so that's all I have to say about mental health. and I hope that was helpful. Okay, bye everyone.